Phil, how hard is this going to be for the prosecution? Because this is going to be a dicey one to prove that it was, in fact, election interference and it wasn't simply, a catch and kill scheme that was not politically motivated.
Well, great to be with you again, Julie. This is a trial that is seemingly in search of a crime. They're already started. They've got one of their star witnesses who hasn't moved the needle at all for the prosecutor. When you're a prosecutor, you're supposed to be the good guys. You're supposed to be the one with the white hat, doing justice and bringing justice to a courtroom so a jury can later on do justice. But what they've done is they've stumbled right out of the gate, and they may not even be able, I think, at this point, to prove their underlying misdemeanor. Remember, this is a business records case. They're going to have to prove at a minimum, that business records misdemeanor took place so that they can then attempt to try to bootstrap, the felony to it. And if they can't even prove that there was a bookkeeping violation of some sort, business records violation, then they are dead in the water, or at least they should be. The open question that I still have is all of this is playing out in front of a jury selected from people in Manhattan who may perhaps even just hate Donald Trump. So I still have questions about whether or not he's going to get a fair trial, despite how well he is doing with these initial witnesses.
Okay, so then, Phil, if you were to try this case, where would you find the illegal conduct here? Do you believe that there is enough evidence in order to get a conviction on a number of these accusations?
Yeah, for the same reasons that Andrew just pointed out, they are having a very difficult time finding anything that was actually illegal. They're doing things that may be unseemly. They may be talking about things that might be embarrassing. But look, they've got to find that there was criminal intent, not only with respect to the entry in the business records, but to further it with their newly announced, and by that they didn't include this in the indictment, but now we know they're traveling under this other New York law that deals with a conspiracy. But under that conspiracy statute, you've got to do something illegal, because interfering with an election is that's the term they use. But another term could be running a campaign, because that's what campaigns do. Campaigns, by their very nature and definition, their job is to influence the outcome of an election. And so what they're doing is they're taking normal campaign conduct, things that happen all the time with all these campaigns, and they're using a different moniker. They're calling it election interference, as if there is such a crime or anything like that. So they're reaching, I think this is a overblown case from the very beginning. It never should have been brought. But if I were the defense counsel, I would be finding one or two or maybe three jurors on that panel that I could argue my case to, because I don't think I'm going to get 12 that are going to unanimously agree to acquit my client. But if I can focus on one or two or three and say, look, there is no crime here, even if everything they're saying we did actually happened, it's not a crime. And if you can get some open-minded individuals, the best that he might be able to hope for, I think, is a hung jury. I don't see this particular New York panel or this New York jury acquitting Donald Trump, but a hung jury is certainly in the cards.
Phil, we haven't heard from you just yet. What has struck you so far, and as far as witnesses, this would be the third witness that has been called up so far. We know there's still a lot of star witnesses we have not seen and heard from yet.
Well, great to be with you again, as always. Listen, this has all been, I think, window dressing so far. I've not seen anything that points to a scintilla of a crime here. Ordinarily, I would say if this were a typical trial where you had a fair judge and you had a fair and unbiased jury and a fair jury pool to pull that jury from, I would say that the trial would be collapsing under its own weight, because the prosecutor seems to be just having this trial looking for some crime. But so far, they've not laid a hand on Donald Trump in terms of proving any criminal activity, and I don't think that they can. But when I say that under a normal trial, this is what would happen, it would implode. This judge has gone out of his way, in my opinion, to prove every step of the way that he cannot be fair to the defendant. All defendants, regardless of who you are, no matter if you're Donald Trump or anybody else, you are entitled to a fair judge. And there is not one in this case. He has indicated that he should be recuse. He should have sent that motion to recuse to another judge. But because he graded his own paper, so to speak, that proves that he is biased and he needs to be gone. I don't know why he's not, but he needs to be. And this thing is a sham and it needs to stop.
Yeah, Phil, I think his exact words were, how about the White House? That would be comfortable.
Look, you need not look any further than the fact that this trial is happening right now in the middle of the campaign. And as the parties get ready to nominate their nominees this summer, that fact alone shows that this is a political show trial. And the fact that we are not seeing any real hard evidence of criminality is not surprising because, look, any prosecutor that would cobble together this ridiculous indictment that takes an expired case, a misdemeanor that's expired by the statute of limitations, and tries to bootstrap it into 30-something felonies by tying it to another misdemeanor that really can't be proven either based on the evidence we heard from Mr. Pecker. All that put together shows you that Donald Trump is correct in everything that he said, criticizing the judge and criticizing this trial. And honestly, this is a situation where the historians of the future are going to look back, and I'm afraid they're not going to be able to have any confidence in the outcome of this case, particularly if there's a conviction.